Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottanam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Jamudirayat Nastape Sabhatresu
Ashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Yam Bhagavata Seva
Bhagavate Tamasloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistike. Today I will be reading from the first canto, chapter 8, text 41. These are the prayers of Queen Kunti. Ata Vishvesha Vishvatman Vishvamukte Svakeshume Sneyapasam Imam Chindi Tritam Pandusa Vishnisu Ata Vishvesha Vishvatman Vishvamukte Svakeshume Sneyapasam Imam Chindi Tritam Pandusa Vishnisu. Ata Vishvesha Vishvatman Vishvamukte Svakeshume Sneyapasam Imam Chindi Tritam Pandusa Vishnisu. Word for word translation. Atta, therefore, Vishva Isa, O Lord of the universe, Vishva Atman, O soul of the universe, Vishvamurte, O personality of the universal form, Svakeshu, unto my own kinsman, may my Sneyapasam, tie of affection, Imam, this, Chindi, cut off, Tridam, deep, Pandusu, for the Pandavas, Vrishnisu, for the Vrishnis also. Translation and purport by Abhaichanavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. O Lord of the universe, soul of the universe, O personality of the form of the universe, please therefore sever my tie of affection for my kinsmen, the Pandavas and the Vrishnis. Purport. A pure devotee of the Lord is ashamed to ask anything in self-interest from the Lord. But the householders are sometimes obliged to ask favors from the Lord, being bound by the tie of family affection. Srimati Kunti Devi was conscious of this fact, and therefore she prayed to the Lord to cut off the affectionate tie from her own kinsmen, the Pandavas and the Vaishnavas. The Pandavas are her own sons, and the Vaishnavas are the members of her paternal family. Krishna was equally related to both the families. Both the families required the Lord's help because both were dependent devotees of the Lord. Srimati Kunti Devi wished Sri Krishna to remain with her sons, the Pandavas, but by his doing so, her paternal house would be bereft of the benefit. All these partialities troubled the mind of Kunti, and therefore she desired to cut off the affectionate tie. A pure devotee cuts off the limited ties of affection for his family and widens his activities of devotional service for all forgotten souls. The typical example is the band of the 6 Goswamis who followed the path of Lord Chaitanya. All of them belonged to the most enlightened and culturally rich families of the higher caste, but for the benefit of the mass of population, they left their comfortable homes and became mendicants. To cut off all family affection means to broaden the field of activities. Without doing this, no one can be qualified as a Brahmin, a king, a public leader, or a devotee of the Lord, the personality of Godhead. As an ideal king showed this by example. Sri Ramchandra cut off the tie of affection for his beloved wife to manifest the qualities of an ideal king. Such personalities as a Brahmin, a devotee, a king, or a public leader must be very broad-minded in discharging their respective duties. Srimati Kunti Devi was conscious of this fact, and being weak, she prayed to be free from such bondage of family affection. The Lord is addressed as the Lord of the universe, or the Lord of the universal mind, indicating his all-powerful ability to cut the hard knot of family affection. Therefore, it is sometimes experienced that the Lord, out of his special affinity towards a weak devotee, breaks the family affection by force of circumstances, arranged by his all-powerful energy. By doing so, he causes the devotee to become completely dependent on him, and thus clears the path for his going back to Godhead. Read the verse again. Ata Vishvesha Vishvatman Vishvamukta Svakesha me Sneha Pasamimam Chindi Dritam Pandusha Vishnisha. The Lord of the universe, soul of the universe, O personality of the form of the universe, please therefore sever my tie of affection for my kinsmen, the Pandavas and the Vaishnavas. Om Jnanati Mandasya Snasna Slakaya Sakshu Anmilitam Yena Tasmai Shikaraveya Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namini Namaste Saraswata Deve Gauravani Pacharini Nirvishesha Sunvada Paskachaya Desataya Srila Prabhupada Ki. So here we have Queen Kunti. She prays to the Lord to sever a tie of affection for kinsmen, the Pandavas. This is very interesting. We know that to perform devotional service, association with devotees is most important. I remember in the teachings of Lord Kapiladev, we will hear that Prasangram Achrampasham Atmana Kavyovidu Saiva Sudusuketur Mokshat Varma Pavutam. That, yes, attachment to things in this world is a cause of entanglement of the spiritual world, of the spirit soul. But that same attachment, if transferred to the sadhu, to the devotee, it brings you to the path of liberation. And we know all the Pandavas are great devotees. And still she is praying to cut off the tie of affection of our family members. So how can we understand that? First, that because to understand that we must understand why she's saying that. Why Queen Kuta is saying that here. In the next verse, she says, Vaim enanya vishaya matir matu pate sakit ratim utvarta ada kan gevouwen ovdan vati. O Lord of Madhu, as the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn unto you without being diverted to anyone else. So Queen Kunti wants also always her attraction towards the transcendental loving service of the Lord. And she does not want anything to intervene with it. So Queen Kunti is already a pure devotee. She's very attached to Krishna. She has attained prema. We know the process of devotional service goes from Shraddha to prema, 9 stages. Prema is a perfection, but prema has also 7 gradations of prema. That starting with mana, pranaya, pralaya, and then raga, anuraga, bhava as a stage of prema, and mabhav. Mabhav is the most intense love of Srimati Radharani for Krishna. But our acharyas have analyzed and they concluded that Queen Kunti is on the platform of anurag, great attachment to Krishna. And everything what comes in between with that attachment, she doesn't want it. But Srila Prabhupada writes, to cut off the tie of all affections does not mean complete negation of the finer elements like affection for someone else. So how can we understand that? Mostly people in this world, they are very much attached to their body. And the sages will meet Lord Krishna and the Yadus and the residents of Vrindavan at the time of the solar eclipse in Kurukshetra. These sages, they point out that this affection is very dangerous. Yasyatma buddhi kunipeti dhatuke svadikaladra disyo bauma ichadi. When we identify itself with this body, which is made of 3 dhatus, 3 substances, mucus, bile, and air, and we think that my wife, my family are permanently my own. So, yes, such a person is no better than a cow or an ass. There are a few more points in this verse, but these are the points really that are applicable here to this verse. He thinks his wife and family are permanently his own. Now suppose because we know that we all went to innumerable births, and someone brings you a photo, and of the picture you see a woman with 5 sons and 2 daughters and a husband. And suppose I show this picture to Rasaraj Krishna Prabhu and I ask him, I tell him, look, this woman with these 5 sons and these 2 daughters, that was you in your previous life. What would you say? What will we say? I don't know. No idea. But in your previous life, you were very much attached to the sons and the daughter, the 2 daughters. Very much attached. You cared for them. But in this life, are you still caring for them? So that's the first point. All these bodies and these so-called relationships in this world, they are very temporary. And we should not become attached to the temporary. Because they have this kind of affection is selfish. My family. So it's a great question of consciousness. Because if you think my family, I care for my family, and all the other people we don't care for. So it has a selfish aspect. And that selfish aspect is called, Srila Prabhupada calls here, skin relationship. So Srila Prabhupada writes, when Kunti Devi wanted to cut off the family relations, she meant to cut off the relation of the skin. So family members, if they are devotees, and they help us to advance us in devotional service, very useful. But we should not see them as my family members. They are spirit souls, part and parcels of Krishna, who play that role now. And we should not be attached to them for the role they play. We should be attached to them because they are devotees and we can support each other to make spiritual advancement. So this is important to realize, because otherwise this family attachment, they can be very dangerous. And this danger is also explained in the Bhagavatam, in the teachings of Kapila Dev, there, in the 3rd canto, I think, that there it's explained that the union of male and female in this world creates a hard knot. A hard knot. which keeps us in this world. So that is the reason why Queen Kunti prays to the Lord in this way. That because the skin relation is the cause of material bondage, keeps us in this world. That, but if we relate with others as souls, soul means part and parcel of Krishna. Soul means I'm a servant of Krishna. And we relate with each other as servants of Krishna, facilitating service for Krishna together. Then that is an appropriate relationship. That so if family is not helpful to advances in Krishna consciousness, then there is no use to associate too much with them. That can be dangerous. Of course, that does not mean that we have to neglect our duties towards our parents. That yes, but we should see the relation of the soul to soul. And that can be established, Srila Prabhupada says, as we also see in everybody the super soul. So this is an important point Srila Prabhupada makes. The relation of the soul to soul can be established via the medium of the relation of the super soul. If you study Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavatam, we hear we are not the doers. We see our Krishna as a super soul in everyone's heart, gives them certain knowledge, certain capabilities, and so on. So the devotee learns to see how the super soul acts to them. And when he sees that living entities are in ignorance of their factual constitutional position, the devotee feels compassion and wants to bring them out of ignorance. So this, not of course, Queen Kunti has affection for the Pandavas and the Vrishnis. But that relationship is not outside the range of devotional service. It is said sometimes that service to the devotee is more valuable than service to the Lord. But this relationship, of course, there are the Pandavas and the Vrishnis of the Yadus. And she has this family affection. In other words, Queen Kunti is praying, please cut the material part of my relationship. Because that's the point Srila Prabhupada makes. To cut off the tie of all other affections does not mean complete negation of the finer elements like affection for someone else. Devotional service means we are going to develop love for Krishna. Love for Krishna, but love for Krishna means also love for all his part and parcels. So we need to love everyone, not only our family members, so-called family members, No, it means loving everyone, because they are all part and parcels of the Supreme Lord. Some are in illusion, others are in the process of devotional service. But that affliction is normal for the spirit soul. That because part and parcel of Krishna means we are also part of Krishna. But we have to broaden our consciousness. Material consciousness means restricting our consciousness. If I think I'm a man, I'm separate from all the women. If I think I'm American, I'm different from the Indians and all the others. You separate yourselves by accepting these upadis that is Sarvopadi Vanirmuktam Tat Parat Vananirmalam Rishkena Rishkena Sevanam Bhakti. Sevanam Muktir. Yeah. Which I think, so this is the definition of pure devotional service by Narada Muni. Give up all these upadis, this false identities, the false identity that's I'm a family member, that I'm the brother of this person or this or the sister of that person or whatever. That so this is a separatist mentality. And Srila Prabhupada speaks about broadening our perspective. That broadening means learn to see everyone as a spirit soul. Like Mrigari the hunter, when he became a devotee, then he was afraid of even hurting the ants, because he understood they are part and parcels of Krishna. That so we must have this feeling of affection. Must be there. That Srila Prabhupada says it's a symptom of life. That we cannot stop desire, anger, anchorings, feeling of attraction, and so on and so on. It's the symptom of life. That just we have to change our objective. We have to do it for Krishna. That an Uttam Adhikar sees everyone as a better servant of Krishna than himself. So that is a very elevated position. We cannot take that position artificially, but we can see through knowledge. Through knowledge that. So Queen Kunti is very attached to the service of the Lord. She wants her consciousness constantly go to the Supreme Lord as the Ganges flows to the sea, and no deviation. So that's what we as devotees must strive for. What is deviating us from Krishna consciousness? And yes, Queen Kunti knows it is this family attraction is very dangerous. That of course the Pandavas were pure devotees. They were all engaged in the service of the Lord. So there was no need for her to pray for that. Because everyone was engaged in the service of the Lord. that they were pure devotees. But why is she praying like that? For us, for our benefit. That we understand that, yes, yeah, we can be attached to our family, to our society, to our country. But it's all sense gratification. It's selfish to be just attached to your family and not to the others. I give affection to my family and all the others I forget about. No, we have to broaden our our perspective must be broadened. That's the service of the Lord must come into the center. So we are not there to satisfy our own desires. So devotional service means changing desire. That's the main thing. Well, that's the activity of the soul, changing desire. And cultivate that desire to put the Lord in the center. So we see the Pandavas, like Arjuna, was very attached to Krishna as his friend. So this, and Queen Kunti is the same change of consciousness. She is attached to the Supreme Lord. So whatever we do, we must change in service of the Lord. Because all this attachment, this family, is temporary. Because it's not that we are not concerned with our family. We are concerned with our family that they become Krishna conscious. Also, Prahlad Maharaj was concerned with his father. After his father was killed, he asked Lord Nrsimhadev asked him to ask for a benediction. And the benediction he asked, please give my father liberation. But of course, for a higher cause, you can give up the affection for your family. And Srila Prabhupada gives the example, the 6 Goswamis. So if one engages one's fully in the service of the Lord, then one gives up one's relationship with family. But that's for a higher cause. Like a sannyasi takes sannyas and is so-called socially dead. No relationship with family anymore. That's not because he is averse to his family, no. It's for a higher cause, for the service of the Lord. So that is important. Because it is said, of course, in the 11th canto, that I think it's this verse quoted by Prabhupada many times. 11.5.41 Devasya bhutapta ninam pitrinam nakinkaranayam renisa rajan sarvatmanaya saranam samyam katomamukundam paritsakartam. O king, one who has given up all material duties and has taken full shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, who offers to all, is not indebted to demigods, great sages, ordinary living beings, relatives, friends, mankind, and even one's forefathers who have passed away. Since all such classes of living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, one who has surrendered to the Lord's service has no need to serve such persons separately. So here it's mentioned. When we take birth, we are indebted to the sages for the scriptures, to the demigods for providing air, light, and so on and so on. But one who has taken shelter of the Supreme Lord has no such duties anymore, no duties to the parents and so on. But that's for those who have fully surrendered to the Supreme Lord, and are fully engaged in his mission. Srila Prabhupada also left his family. He did not want to take sannyas. After passing away, he got a dream, and his spiritual master urged him in the dream to take sannyas. And Srila Prabhupada was said, horrible, how I'm going to do that. But the Lord forced him. His business collapsed and so many things happened. And he forced him to take sannyas. So that is, yes. I think Hiraj Maharaj told that at Juhu, a man came to Srila Prabhupada and asked for his blessings. That and Srila Prabhupada quoted this verse, 1.8.41-42-DELAND-BPRS-2022, that and he is referring also indirectly here to the purport of this verse. Yasyamanhinami arisitatanam sanai tatu danam tiantya syasvachana dukadukidam. The personality of God has said, if I special favor someone, I gladly deprive him from his wealth. Then the relatives and friends of such a poverty-stricken man abandon him. In this way, he suffers one distress after another. The Srila Prabhupada quoted this verse and said to the man, this is the blessings I give. That this is the favor of the Lord. That then the Lord takes all your wealth away, and then your relatives, they reject you. So all attachment gone. Krishna has forced you. And that is what Krishna many times does. If devotees are really sincere and they are deeply entangled, like myself, that at the end of the 80s, I had my own software company, and internet was not prominent at that time. But anyway, I was writing software for accountancy, and I was very successful. That the business was going good. In a short time, I bought my own house, had a wife, 2 children, a big car, that everything you want. But then I met the devotees, and Krishna arranged for me in a very short time to entangle me from all this situation. But I started to chant Hare Krishna, and yes, my wife said to me, I found another husband, and I got into a divorce. I didn't want it. I continued chanting Hare Krishna, and then I lost my job. I was an accountant at that time. And my boss said, I need another bookkeeper. I lost my job. I got in a conflict with my with the associates in the company. That I was divorced from my children. So I lost everything in 2 years' time, just after chanting Hare Krishna. I lost my house. went to the children for their education. That freed me from that. And I lost my job, my wife, my children, everything in 2 years. What could I do? I joined the temple and became a brahmachari, fully engaged in Srila Prabhupada's mission. That it was quite hard at that time to separate from family because I didn't want it. Krishna forced me. He plucked me out of a very entangled situation and put me in a situation in the association of devotees where I could make spiritual advancement. Later I understood this was his mercy. This was his mercy. But Krishna gives only such blessings, he says, if we are sincere. That so that does not mean we have to pray for these things like Queen Kunti, for calamities. No, but Krishna will give us tests and help us to give up our attachment one way or another. And we should welcome them, this test. That I remember at that time it was quite a devastating situation, but because I was fully engaged in devotional service, I did not feel any pain of suffering. That not much. But later I understood, yes, Krishna had freed me from these so-called family relationships. They all rejected me. And that has been my great fortune because I was free to engage fully in the service of Srila Prabhupada and his mission. So these are blessings that, but of course, Krishna will do that if you are to help you, to disentangle you. But if you are married and you are devotees and you cooperate together in the service of the Lord, there is no need for this. Krishna will do that when we are too attached. Like you are, I'm here at the seaside and many tourists are here walking on the beach and the children make sand castles with sometimes very nice, with some water around. But then the tide comes and the flood comes and the whole castle is destroyed. And the child cries and the mother laughs. So that's like that. Well, it's like a mother who says to the child, you have to come to stop playing. It's time for dinner. A mother had already said it 2 times, and the 3rd time, still the child does not want to come. Then the mother takes the toy away, and the child starts to cry. It's the same thing, because these temporary affections in this world, they have no meaning. They have only meaning, these temporary relationships, if they are connected with Krishna. So I chose this verse today because I think this is an important point to be made, that direct your attachments correctly in relation to Krishna. If not, and the relationship breaks, you will suffer a lot. And the suffering is due to the material attachment. That's the skin affection. And Queen Kunti gives us the example by praying to the Lord, please take that away. Because otherwise, if I remain attached like this, I will take birth again and I forget you. So, of course, again, Queen Kunti was a pure devotee. She related to the Pandavas, pure devotees. She did not need to pray for us, but it's for us that we can learn. So thank you. Any comments or questions, please?
No.
Yes, Purnachandra Prabhu.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. Very nice question. Class and very nice verse also. Thank you for selecting that. No question. Many times it is confusing or it is difficult to decide between um, the duty and attachment, because things as a grihastha, we think that it is a duty, but then it could be attachment also. So how we can do, like in other words, how we can make sure we do minimal duty which is necessary, and then make sure that we are not attached too much.
Yeah. So that's a good question. Like acting out of duty. Like if parents are in their old age, certainly it's a duty of the son and daughter to support them. That's duty. But that duty can be done as a service to Krishna. You must remember that Krishna tells us this in the scriptures. This is your duty. So Krishna engages me in that duty, and I do it for him. And you see in the heart of your parents the super soul, and do it to please Krishna in their heart. So that's a different consciousness. So there are two ways. You can do it and forget Krishna, then your mind is in materially absorbed. That's dangerous. But you do the same duty in Krishna consciousness, and you do this actively from within as a service to Krishna. That, of course, to go from one type of consciousness to the others doesn't happen overnight. Therefore, we must cultivate Krishna consciousness and learn to see Krishna in the heart of everyone. And that's therefore we hear Bhagavatam and we chant. When we chant, we must feel Krishna in the heart. And be aware Krishna is also in the heart of others. So that's a gradual cultivation, because otherwise, it is said in the second canto that this is the verse, I think 47, a little further. Yeah, it says if the mind is attached to sense gratification, then it becomes a big disturbance. If the mind is too much attached to sense enjoyments and material opulence, then the resolution for devotional service does not take place. And that's the point. This resolution for devotional service will take place if we are not attached to sense gratification. So our motive should not just to be to please the parents, but rather to please Krishna out of duty. We have parents in our previous life, or so many lives back, and now are we praying for them? No. They're all temporary relationships. When Kiraj Maharaj was in Juhu, no, this was Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj. It was a grandfather from his wife, probably, who died or something. And he went to Prabhupada and said, should I go to the funeral? And Prabhupada said, there's no need for that. So that's, that does not mean that we don't have to go to funerals, but if there is no way, if it's too difficult and it's too far, then don't worry about it. It's all temporary relationships that see this body, probably in 20 years or 20 years from now, it's food for worms. That's what it will be. So we must get out of this body concept of life and all these relationships. But duties are there. Duties are not to be neglected, but we do our duty. It says karmane vadakaraste, maflese kadashna. Without attachment, that's one side, but that's within the varnashram system. Duties in the varnashram system are done for haritoshanam. Very clear, otherwise they are useless. So our duties we do for Krishna, otherwise they are useless. So that is important, that we understand that point. But at the same time, we give affection to everyone without discrimination. Who was the best example of that? Bhakti Maharaj. He did not discriminate whether you were a disciple or not. No, everyone. And that is what we need to learn, broaden our perspective. Does that help?
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, good. Thank you. Yes, Rasraj Krishna.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the lecture. You brought up, I've had some friends who have been brahmacharis for some time, and one of them left the ashram because his mother was unable to fend or survive financially, so he left the ashram and became like he's wearing white instead of saffron, but he still wants to he wants to work and earn money to support his mother. So what is this? When this kind of situation arises in the family, do we still have obligations to the family, especially to the mother, even after taking saffron or brahmachari life?
Yeah, that obligation is there. But strictly, you can remain in your service and engage fully in Srila Prabhupada's mission, and Krishna will take care one way or another. But we have to be careful with that. In that case, you have to remain in the service. Because if you give up the service, you can, Krishna, you may get the karma back from not supporting family members. So we have to be careful. So I think normally this decision should be taken after consultation of authorities. And if he has temporary to support his parents, it's not a bad thing. But we have to remain in our sadhana, in our Krishna consciousness. And that, if a brahmachari becomes a grihastha, it's not a bad thing. That's okay. But grihastha means an ashram also, and continue associating with devotees. But brahmachari in the ashram is in a better situation to cultivate Krishna consciousness for sure, because you can dedicate more time to it. Gyastamas do also many things where the cultivation of Krishna consciousness becomes more difficult. Does that help, Rasaraj Krishna?
Yes, Maharaj, thank you. And just a further question is, we can have karma. We get karma if we don't take care of our family members. Is that something I heard?
Yes, because it's your duty. But therefore I quoted this verse. But if you fully engage with body, mind, and words in the service of Krishna, then you have no duty. But you have to continue that. That's important. Never give it up. Then it's okay. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Good. Thank you. So,
you can repeat the verse number, Maharaj. The verse
from today.
No, not just now. What you repeated to answer the question. I think this canto second.
For which question? That was
the previous one, Maharaj, which I was asking, which Maharaj, you read from Canto 1, I believe.
Yeah.
The verse which was related to the previous question I asked.
And what was the previous question again?
The verse, basically karma, between the karma and attachment was the previous question. And you read, Maharaj, one verse where
yeah, what was it? Bogashvara Prasaktanam Therapeutia Setisam?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's Bhagavad Gita 244. That, yeah, if we are too much attached to sense gratification, then the determination for devotional service does not take place. And with our minds, we have to be careful with that.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Looking forward to see you.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. I
Yes.
have one.
Kema Prada Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, my question is a little bit related to Rasraj Prabhu's. Around you, like your family member, like husband, brothers, if they are in Krishna consciousness and they want to be strict with their sadhana and spirituality, but surrounding them will feel very uncomfortable sometimes, like they need you. So, so isn't that like they get offended? So isn't it that it's like a one of the offense in the beginning, that 10 offense, first offense, that we always say that Vaishnavas are priority. Sometimes we means we hear like this, like Vaishnavas, we have to give priority first, and then the so it's little confusion here. So Maharaj, can you little bit clear, like where and how we shouldn't get offended with that? Like we should understand that yes, they are following strictly. So how can we support them? Like,
yeah, I don't know if I understand your point correctly, but it's very important to see in these relationships if it relates to service where Krishna is in the center. That Mostly these relationships have a mixture of self-interest and service for Krishna. So we should be careful to differentiate with that. Because, it's good to broaden our perspective and not only serve in family context, but also broader than that. It's more safe. But it has to you have to see every situation differently and analyze how is Krishna here in the center? That's the question you have to ask. Why is the service of Krishna here in the center? If Krishna is really in the center, it's good. If not, there may be a dangerous aspect. But, that's what I could say, Mother Prema Prada. Is that okay?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay.
So basically, we should see that if there is Krishna, that what we are looking for, then only we should approach for that service or anything.
Yes, right. But otherwise, it's material and will increase our attachment.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
you. Hare Krishna. See you all next week if Krishna willing. Hare Bol.